Over the last 10 years, we've clocked over 10,000 hours of meditation together. It's a practice that has completely changed our lives.
But when we first started, it felt frustrating, confusing, and honestly, like a complete waste of time.
And over the last decade, we've probably made every mistake in the book.
So today, we're making the podcast episode we wish we had 10 years ago.
We're sharing the 3 biggest things we wish someone told us when we first started meditating.
And hopefully saving you years of pain in the process.
All right, let's jump right in. What is the first thing we wish someone told us when we first started our meditation journey?
Number 1 is the harder you try, the less you get out of it.
Yeah, that's a good one. Meditation is really not like most things in life. Most things in life, like your health or wealth, your effort equates to your results, right? The harder you try at getting wealthy, the more likely you are to get wealthy. The harder you try to get that 6-pack, the more likely you are to get that 6-pack. And so meditation is not like that, though. Meditation is more like sleep. That's the perfect analogy for it. The harder you try to fall asleep, the less likely you are to actually fall asleep. Like if you lay there in your bed and you're just staring at the ceiling like, oh shit, I really need to go to sleep. I really need to go to sleep. We've all been there like, oh, I need to wake up early tomorrow. Shit. And then you're like in your head and then, you don't fall asleep. The same is true for meditation. It's actually the complete opposite. The less you try, the more you get out of it. It's a very strange paradox.
What do you mean, though, by trying less? Like, what does that actually look like in the sense of meditation in your perspective?
Yeah, so I'll bring it down to earth, right? So when you first start meditating, at least mindfulness meditation, which is what we practice, what you're really doing is becoming aware of the thoughts that are happening inside of your mind, all right? And studies show that we have about 60 to 80,000 thoughts per day, which is insane. That means this brain is just thinking all day long, bang, 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 bang. And most of us, well, if you're a beginner, you've never actually sat and just kind of looked at your mind and looked at those thoughts that are going on autopilot all day, every day. And meditation is really your first chance to really like kind of peek behind the curtain of the mind and see what's really going on here. And when you first do that, it's like a fucking hurricane. It's like a circus in there. You're like, whoa, what the fuck did I just like get myself into, right? Because there's thoughts flying about sex and health, and you're thinking of like fucking all different sorts of shit.
Did I turn the air conditioner off before I left?
Your mind is
Did I pay that bill that is due yet? Like all these
it's a legit
things.
Circus.
Basically, like you realize what I realize is that it's like almost like a running to-do list of things that you have to do in your life. Just all these things start popping
Thinking
up.
about the past, the future, anxiety, like just all these thoughts, all right? So to bring it back to the point of what do I mean by the less you try? In the beginning, you're really, really tempted to want to basically wipe out that circus. You don't want all that noise in your head. And so what you want to do is literally forcefully remove the clown juggling and all these thoughts. You want to get them out. You're like, no, I don't want you here. This is too much.
No, well, I also think that some people think that that's what the point of meditation is.
Yeah.
So not only do you want it out, but some people approach it like us in the beginning, which is like the goal of meditation is to not think.
Right.
Which is not true.
Yeah.
So that's the underlying belief here that we're trying to uncover, which is the point of meditation is not to not think. It's to become aware of the thoughts that you are thinking.
Yeah. Another perfect analogy here is the clouds in the sky analogy. So you can imagine when you're starting to meditate that you are the sky. Basically, your consciousness, that awareness that you're bringing into the meditation is the blue sky. And all of these thoughts that are popping up all over the place, those are like clouds drifting throughout your sky, right? Mm. And the temptation, like we said, is to want the blue sky and like move clouds, move clouds, move clouds so I can get to this peaceful blue sky. But really, if you just watch those clouds and don't try to change them, don't try to label them, just literally sit there and watch them on their own eventually.
Yeah.
The sky will start to clear up. Like the clouds will start to pass. You're like, oh, there's another thought. Oh, watch it go by. And eventually the more you sit and watch the clouds go by, the more you end up getting the thing that you think you wanted in the first place, which is the clear blue sky.
I've recently come to like a new analogy that makes more sense for me than the blue sky one. And it's that of a dog sitting on a porch and its owner throwing balls out, right? And the balls that are being thrown are your thoughts. And in the beginning, like a dog chases that ball every time it's thrown by the owner, and you go out there and you get it and you bring it back, right? The goal of meditation is to be that dog that can just sit on the porch and watch that owner throw out ball after ball after ball and just sit there and watch the lawn fill up with all the balls. And then at the end of the meditation,
Just gobble all the balls up.
no, go select the ball that you want to play with,
Yeah.
right? Which is happens in meditation, right? Like you have all these thoughts, and one of these thoughts might be like, "Oh my God, that's a great business idea." And sometimes you even have this urge to like, "I got to end my meditation right now and go write this idea down because it's so good."
Yeah.
But what we've learned is you need the discipline to just sit there, and if that thought is good enough, after you're done with the meditation, it'll still be there.
All right.
And it's that discipline. So I like to think of it as be that dog that can sit on the porch and not chase every single ball that's thrown.
That's cool. I like that. I want to end thing number one with one of my favorite quotes from Alan Watts. It's so simple but so profound. He says, "Muddy water is best cleared by leaving it alone." If you think about mud in the water and you stir it all up and it's just floating all around, all you have to do in order for that water to get clear again and to let that mud settle to the bottom is just let it be there. And the same is true for our minds. When it's stirred up and there's mud flying in all directions, you don't need to try to get a spoon and get the dirt out. If you just sit there and let it settle on its own and just be aware of this craziness that is going on, eventually you'll find your own calm in your own time.
Before we move on to the next one, though, I want to talk about this concept of surrender in meditation because I feel like it goes hand in hand with this rule number one, which is the harder you try, the less you get out of it. So in meditation, you're taught to surrender. And I think the misconception that happens is the word surrender often associated in daily life is like, I need to give up.
Right.
I need to basically just say, F it. It's hey, I lost, right? Surrender, wave the white flag.
Right.
But that's not really what they mean in the world of mindfulness meditation when they say surrender. What do they mean?
You tell us.
It means to basically not get attached. It means to let go and let that mud settle, like we're saying. It's not being of no action, but it's letting go of the clinging.
Right.
That's really what it means.
Yeah, I think it's surrendering your attachment to your thoughts is really
Exactly.
what you're trying to get at. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What is the second thing we wish someone told us before we started meditating?
So number 2 is a nice mathematical formula we got here, which is consistency is greater than quantity.
Yeah, I think we all know quality over quantity. It gets thrown around all the time, and it's true for most things in life. But for meditation, I really do believe that consistency...
It is true for meditation too. Quality is better than quantity in meditation as well. Like if you have 5 good minutes, it's
yeah,
better.
but then you're putting a label on what is good. You're not going for quality.
I guess you're right.
You're just... Like the goal of meditation is not to get anything out of it. You're going back, you're negating the first point by saying you're looking for quality out of your meditation. You're not looking for anything out of it. All you're looking to do is just show up consistently. Just show up and do the practice. And I wish somebody had told me that in the beginning, because in the beginning I did have this mindset of like, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to sit for like a hour and I don't care. I'm just gonna sit down for an hour and I'm gonna do that for like a week. I'm gonna see what happens. And it's like, bro, you don't need to do some crazy shit like that. It's like, it's equivalent to the person who is really out of shape and they're like, I'm like, I hit this moment of disgust and I really want to get in shape. So I'm going to go to the gym every day for the next 30 days and I'm going to be a beast. It's like, no, bro, don't do that. If you've never been to the gym before, you're not going to go to the gym. Like, you're setting your expectations way too high. And within like 2 days, you're going to say, oh, wow, this is way too hard. And you're going to stop. And then you're never going to get in shape. So what's better to do is shoot for consistency and to shoot for less of a goal. Like, just sit could be as like your first starting goal. Literally just sit for 1 minute a day. It could be like as simple as it is. You want to remove as much friction and create a habit more than anything of the consistency.
Yeah.
Because that's what's going to get you the long-term results.
I think the analogy to physical health here is such a good one, like you said, right? It's, would you rather go to the gym for an hour 3 times a month, or would you rather go to the gym for 10 to 15 minutes every day for 30 straight days?
Right.
And it's going to the gym for 30 straight days for 10 to 15 minutes because you're really developing that mentality and that identity that this is who you are. You show up to the gym to take care of your physical health.
Yeah.
That's the same thing with meditation. You show up for your mental health, right? Every day you're sitting down to practice, to gain that clarity, to gain that peace of mind.
And it's the same thing with the gym too, because like when you first start going to the gym, it's a little uncomfortable, right? But then as you keep showing up, even if you're just there for 5 minutes, you start to get more comfortable with being at the gym. And then you kind of want to be at the gym for a little longer. And then you end up wanting to stay for a little longer. And that's what could have happened for us had we started so much smaller. And I wish I could go back in time, because I would have saved so many years of struggle. Because when you try to dive right into the deep end, you're just like, you end up getting a bad relationship towards the practice.
Also, the goal of trying to meditate for a long period of time can prevent you from doing it in the first place, right? Exactly. And it's like the analogy that, going back to the gym thing, was like sometimes people tell you just set the goal to drive to the gym and park outside of the gym.
Even if you don't go.
Right? And you just set that little tiny goal. And I think the equivalent with that,
Apple Watch.
And I think the equivalent of that is just sit down on your pillow or on a chair and take a deep breath. Like, literally keep it that simple and do that every day. And I've really struggled with meditating at night. That's been like a goal of mine that I've had for a really long time. The morning meditation has gotten to become a habit for me, but the evening one, I feel like I am constantly getting distracted and pulled in all these different directions, and I don't do it. But ever since I've made that shift to just sit down on my meditation pillow every night and take one deep breath, it has like simplified the entire process for me. And what you end up realizing is you sit there for one breath and you end up doing a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes of meditation every single night. Yeah. And now I'm starting to develop that habit, which I struggled with for a really long time. And I think that's the main point of this.
Yeah, I want to add one more thing about this point. And it's really that the mind is like a muscle. So this gym analogy is so perfect, right? When you go to the gym and you do a bicep curl, right? That's a rep that you're getting in. And if you don't use the gym, if you don't work out your body consistently, if you don't keep firing that muscle that is your bicep, if you go back to the gym in a month's time, you're going to lose that muscle, right? Yeah. So the same is true for the mind. Like, practicing that awareness that we've been talking about for this entire episode of just being able to sit there and watch the thoughts go by, it's a muscle, just like a bicep curl that you can train, right? So the more you train it consistently, day after day, even if it's for just a minute at a time, the more you're developing that muscle, and the more you end up seeing it in your day-to-day life. When you're feeling super angry in the middle of a heated argument with your wife, or when you're feeling it when your boss says something that pisses you off, or when you're feeling it with a family member who said something that's really angering you, that's another chance to practice that muscle. Mm-hmm. But the more you do it on the meditation cushion and the more you fire that thing, that awareness, the more it'll end up showing up in your daily life. And one more thing before we move into point number 3, speaking of this frictionlessness that we want to create when first starting a meditation practice, we should let you know that we just created a 5-day meditation course for complete beginners, and it's 100% free. So basically, we thought about what would we have wanted when we first started our meditation journey, and then we went and we built it. So it's 5 emails, 5 guided meditations from us in 5 minutes a day. Super, super simple, super down to earth. There's no woo-woo shit in there. It's just straightforward. This is how to meditate in 5 minutes a day for 5 days. 100% free. You can sign up at theobros.com/meditate, and we'll put that link in the description.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah, I think people will get a lot out of it if you give it a try. All right, so Mike, the third thing we wish someone told us before we started meditating is catching yourself in thought is a good thing.
Yeah.
Explain.
This is the most powerful one by far, and that's why we had to save the best for last. When you're first starting to meditate, it's so easy to get mad. It's so easy to get angry and frustrated because it's just like starting anything for the first time. You're going to suck at it. Like, objectively speaking, when you first start getting inside that mind and seeing how bad you are at coming back to the breath and how easy it is to get lost in your thought because it's something you've never done before. So when that happens, it's easy to be like, wow, I fucking suck like shit. I'm so bad at this. Like, maybe this isn't for me. I'm not really meant for this shit. You start to have all that dialogue. That was the dialogue that we both had at first. But one switch that changed everything was this idea that when you catch yourself in thought in the middle of a meditation, rather than be like, oh shit, I caught myself in thought again. Looks like I'm not good at this. It's more so, I just got another bicep curl. Like, I just got stronger. I just got better than this. Every time you catch yourself in thought, that means you just became more aware, right? So it's a complete flip of that script in your head that's saying, I suck, to, wow, I'm actually getting better at this.
Yeah.
Because every time you catch that thought, boom, that's another curl. That's another bicep curl. You just leveled up one more, in this game that is the meditation infinite game.
Yeah. And I think as a beginner, you are constantly getting lost in thought.
Exactly.
And that mentality, like you said, is so powerful because every time you do it, you feel like you're gaining muscle. And it's like in the beginning, you're working with a 10-pound dumbbell, right? And you're doing a lot of reps because if you're constantly getting lost in thought and finding yourself, you're just doing a lot of those reps. Eventually, you build up that muscle where you have a 25-pound dumbbell, and now maybe you're only doing 5 reps in a meditation session, right? And then eventually you're holding a 50-pound dumbbell, and maybe you only do 2 or 3 times where you have to find yourself lost in thought. But and
then eventually you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, wow, I fucking look sick.
My mind is a powerful force for sure.
Oh man, I think the moral of the story of this episode is give yourself a longer time horizon. Be consistent. Be easy on yourself. And
realize that ending thinking is not the goal of meditation. Awareness of thought is the goal. Awareness is the goal. It's not to eliminate thinking. Right. And that awareness is going to bring the peace of mind that we are all searching for, that it's going to allow us to have that space between the stimulus and the response that we have in everyday life when things don't go our way and we're triggered. And that is really why we are training our mind.
I think another thing it does, or at least it's done for me, is it helps me to not take myself so seriously. Like, when you realize that there's so many different thoughts going on in your head and the fact that, like, you don't have to attach to them and you get to actually plant your own seeds of thought and you get to kind of program your mind however the hell you want to, it's empowering on one end, but on the other end, it's like, it's kind of a joke when, like, your mind is, like, in this really dark, anxious place. It's like, bro, what are you doing? These are just your thoughts. Like, you don't have to be so attached to them, right? So I think that's another thing it's done for me, is just like an underlying calm that I take into my life. Like, don't take this shit so seriously.
Basically, what you're really saying is this very deep concept, which is you are not your thoughts.
Yep.
And going back to that point, You are the awareness of those thoughts.
Yeah, we'll save that thought for another episode. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
Peace. Love you.
And that's a wrap. Thank you so much for listening all the way to the end.
If you like this episode of BSU, you'll probably also like this one right here. So give it a click. Yeah, just click it. All right. See you next time. Peace.